Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek at Old Pueblo Coin, and today we're going to dream the impossible dream and try to explain the difference between machine doubling and an actual double die and what it looks like and why. And this is the type of thing that has been the mystery of mankind as long as I've been alive. So let's have fun with it, shall we? And look at some coins that have some type of doubling going on. And the question just becomes exactly what type of doubling are we looking at? So we're going to have to get up real close and personal for some of these guys. And we're going to have to hope that we can actually see the things that I can see normally with my loupe and explain them. And then I'm going to show you some pictures that are going to explain them really well. Now, you'll see the shadow on the right side of the A, and then on the L and the L. This appears to have some doubling to it. See the L's at that angle, the little lines appear. Okay. So this came in and someone had asked if that's doubling. We've got that going on there. And then we've got, let's look at some more stuff that's kind of easy to see. I think I got the unum on here on this 5-cent piece. Let me see if I was able to pull that up close enough to where you can look at it. E pluribus unum. The proofs are always really hard to film because of that reflectivity of the field. But if I get the angle right, I think you'll start to see how the U has a shadow on both sides and the N and the other U. A little bit of that shadow pops up where it looks like there's two lines in there. Okay, let's see if we can find something else that's a little bit different now. There's a coin in a holder here. And the E, pluribus unum, has a lot of action. This one's interesting because all the lettering actually looks mostly just fat. We're going to look at another thing here, and then I'm going to describe and show. I've got some great images that'll help you understand the difference between the two. So here, if you look at the In God We Trust, has some heavy doubling to it. You can especially see it at this angle. You see the U's and the S and the T in Trust. This is one of my favorite double dies because it's pretty noticeable overall, and so you can see it fairly well. Now people see that and they see all the doubling, and then they'll see something else that appears to have doubling to it, and they just kind of wonder, well, what am I looking at here? Where am I wrong? Let's see, I don't know if we looked at this one or not here. You know, once again, you see all the extra looking lines here on the A and the R at the bottom. So one of the things to understand, of course, is actually what the process is and what it looks like. And so the engineer found this drawing here by Charles Doherty of Copper Coins, 0.5. We're going to look at this here. And this actually helps us understand. So if you look at the lettering, you know, it would normally just be struck up. Okay. What machine doubling is basically when you've got the die and the hub get smashed together. They get smashed together and they get like a little bounce to it. So what it's actually physically doing is taking the metal and smushing it over to the side. And it looks like you have doubling when you look at it from the top, because you see this line and you see this line. Now, what happens though, this is hard to see without getting angles perfect. But one of the things that this drawing shows you is that the metal should be up tall, and on machine doubling, the metal actually has this flow to it like a foothill, like it's been pushed. So the metal is actually being pushed. What hub doubling, as it says here, or what we would usually call double die, the hub is actually, when it's being created, the machine that is creating it is not making the lines match up evenly. And so lots of times I'll point out a little notch in the lettering if I can see it, because to me that's always the key. The thing that's harder to tell is also this is smushed down and these are squared off still. That's hard for me to film, but it's the type of thing that this drawing does a really nice job of. So what we want to look at is you always want to kind of look for, especially if there's some misalignment, north-south misalignment on these squared off letters, you get notches to show up. And that is one of the ways you can tell. The extra thickness they point out, that's really apparent like on that quarter I showed you. But also sometimes these have a little thicker appearance to them because the metal slides over. But also, once again, flattened metal and a step up versus still has the same normal shape to the lettering, but it'll still look like it's a little wider sometimes. All right, now let's review, now that we've seen that, and take a look again at these coins here. Let's get back in the groove of things, shall we? And I don't know if I can really show you exactly on these guys. That sliding step is super hard to see. Like I'm just starting to wonder out loud here if I actually have like a 30 power loop. That would be bonkers, because I just don't know that even if I had a 30 power loop that I would actually be able to film to that level. So now I think all we're going to get up to is just the 20 power loop. All right, well, maybe next time. So let's see if we can get an image at all of some of the areas that step up. So you're actually trying to get an angle, like really, really tight angle, to see if you can see the step up, like on the edge of this R. Okay, now on the edge of the R on the right side, that is the step up. You see the line on the loop of the R bifurcated by a darker line where there's the two bright highlights. That's the step up. And that is not so easy peasy to film. Let's try this one here. It's got the same thing going on with the machine doubling. Well, this one and the cellophane is going to be harder. But we're going to try anyway to see kind of the same thing on that R as it slides. The metal flows and slides up. Now let's take a look at this 43 double die verse. Once again, one of my favorite ones to try to cherry pick. You can almost see it with the naked eye. See if we can look at it and you see the fatness here on the coin, and you see the doubling really clearly. But at that side angle, once again, the coin's in a slab, so it's almost impossible to get the right angle here. At that side angle, there is the same height on everything. The other thing we're going to look for is the notches, the buenos noches, on all of the squared off letters especially. Come on, there we go. So let's focus our eyeballs, shall we, on that last T in the word trust. And you'll see at the edge in the back, boy, it is just not focusing anymore. There we go. And let's look at the U's, the top of the U's. Now the notch is not as pronounced because the doubling is basically only east-west, not north-south. Really to get the notches, you need some north-south action a little bit more here. Let me see on this double die verse there, this 1964. These guys, there's a little bit more north-south, I think, on this coin. So you can start to see the notches on the coin. There we go. I just messed it all up by moving, but I just had a really clear look, I think, at the notches on the bottom of the T. Lighting is your friend when trying to film something so delicate. And so like the base of the R, I know we're looking at it upside down now, but the base of the R has the little notches, and the T has the notches. But really the key on these is understanding the difference in how the coins, the difference between the double dies is, and the machine doubling, is the actual process that made them. One, machine doubling is what I would sometimes just call strike doubling. And all I can tell you is, like, when a machine's not wound super tight, it has a little bit of a rattle. Think about when the strike is coming down and it's producing a second hit. That is not what a double die is, and that is what machine doubling is. And machine doubling happens all of the time. The hub doubling, which is the technical term, or what we would just call double dies, is when the hub is being created, it is getting the lines recut not properly, creating either fat lettering or doubling, like on this coin here on the E pluribus unum. All right, I think once you understand that and you really learn to look close, it's hard to see this stuff up close and personal in a film, but hopefully that was enough to kind of get you started, lead in the right direction, to understand the difference between machine doubling and hub doubling. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I'm Ben the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the owl button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.